My cousin stole from my family and blamed me. They threw me out without a second thought. Hey, before we move on to the video, please subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. Thanks. I never thought I'd be the kind of person who writes one of these posts, but here we are. Maybe it's for closure. Maybe it's just so I can finally scream into the void and have someone believe me. I'm 19 now, but this happened last year when I was 18, fresh out of high school, trying to juggle community college and a part-time job at a local bookstore. My life wasn't perfect, but I was getting by. I lived with my mom, just the two of us, in a small 2-bedroom apartment. We were close, or at least I thought we were. I helped with groceries, paid a bit of rent when I could, and never caused problems. If anything, I was the quiet one in the family, the one who kept his head down. Then there's Megan, my cousin. She's 17, and we used to be close when we were younger. Summers at Grandma's house, sleepovers, stupid games, all that. But by the time we hit high school, she changed. Started getting into sketchy stuff, skipping classes, stealing vape pens from gas stations, lying just because she could. Everyone in the family knew, but no one really did anything. Her mom, my aunt, just waved it off and said Megan was finding herself. And somehow, even with all the crap she pulled, people still liked her. She was loud, charismatic, funny when she wanted to be. I was the background guy in the family group chats. She was the center of attention. I don't think she ever liked that I was close to our grandma. My grandma's always been one of the only people in the family who really saw me. She used to pull me aside and tell me how proud she was, how happy she was that I was in school, staying out of trouble. I think that made Megan jealous, especially since Grandma didn't shy away from pointing out Megan's behavior. There were more than a few tense dinners where Grandma would make a passive-aggressive comment like, "Some kids still have manners, thank God," and Megan would roll her eyes at me like she wanted to slap the skin off my face. I should have seen what was coming. It happened at a family gathering for my grandma's 75th birthday. We all met at her house, a small 2-story place with creaky floors and a living room that smelled like vanilla candles and old photos. It was actually a good time at first. The whole extended family came. Food, drinks, music. People were handing Grandma envelopes stuffed with cash, birthday gifts, a little extra for her meds, things like that. I didn't have much, but I gave her a $50 card I'd been saving up for. She hugged me tighter than anyone else. At one point in the evening, I noticed Megan watching me. Not just glancing, watching like I was a problem she was trying to solve. I remember feeling uncomfortable and brushing it off. Maybe she was high. Wouldn't be the first time. That night, after most people had left, I stayed behind to help clean up. I was stacking paper plates and bringing trash bags out to the bins. Megan was still there too, talking to our aunt in the kitchen, flipping through her phone like she had better places to be. I said goodbye around 11 p.m. and went home. The next morning, everything fell apart. I woke up to a string of missed calls and a text from my mom that just said, "Come to Grandma's." Now, that pit in your stomach you get when you know your life's about to change? Yeah, that. When I got there, the mood was ice. Grandma looked like she'd been crying. My aunt was red in the face. Megan sat on the couch, arms folded, smirking like this with some soap opera she was enjoying from the front row. Someone had stolen the birthday money, every envelope. Over $2,000 gone, just vanished. And guess who Megan said was the last one seen near the drawer where the envelopes were kept? I laughed when they told me what Megan had said. Like actually laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was insane. She told them she saw me near the cabinet where Grandma kept the envelopes. That I was acting weird and shifty. That I left right after everyone else, but looked nervous. And everyone just believed her. No one asked me if it was true. No one gave me a chance to explain. It wasn't even a question. It was an accusation, a verdict, and a sentence all at once. My mom looked at me like I was a stranger. "Just tell us where the money is," she said, like this was some bad dream she wanted to end. "We can fix it." "I didn't take anything," I said, trying to stay calm. My voice cracked. "That was a mistake." "You're shaking," my aunt snapped. "Why are you shaking if you didn't do it?" "Because I'm being accused of something I didn't do." I shot back. Megan leaned forward on the couch and said, "I don't want to get you in trouble, but I saw you go near it. I thought maybe you were just looking at it." I don't know. I was going to say something last night, but I didn't want to make a big deal. That manipulative little snake. She said it like she was being the reasonable one, the peacemaker, and they ate it up. Grandma didn't say anything, just looked away. That hurt more than anything. I could feel the walls closing in, like the whole room was deciding I was guilty and I didn't even know the rules of the game. They asked if I still had the $50 card I'd given Grandma. I didn't. I'd written it in pen and sealed it, and she'd already opened it and set it aside with the others. But they didn't believe that either. You were always quiet, my uncle muttered. Never knew what was going on in your head. You think we don't know what it's like to be broke in college, my aunt said. $2,000 is a lot of temptation. I tried to defend myself. I really did. But everything I said made me look more guilty. My hands were shaking. My throat was tight. I was sweating. I felt like I was on trial for murder. And the worst part? My mom didn't defend me. She just stood there, arms crossed, eyes glossy, and asked again, "Did you do it?" I didn't even answer that time. I just stared at her, and that silence said everything they wanted to hear. They told me I should leave until I was ready to be honest. I stood up, half expecting someone to stop me. No one did. Megan picked at her nails. My aunt looked away. Grandma was crying again. I left with just my phone and the jacket I'd worn the night before. No apology. No belief. No second chance. I sat on the curb outside the house for maybe 20 minutes, just trying to process what had happened. I texted a few friends. One of them, Jordan, a guy I worked with at the bookstore, offered to let me crash at his place for a few nights. I didn't want to say yes. I felt like a burden, but I didn't have a choice. That night, I slept on an air mattress in Jordan's tiny living room, staring at the ceiling, thinking about how easy it was for people I loved to throw me away. The next day, I lost my job. My manager called me in just to talk. He was polite, but stiff. Said someone from my family had called. He didn't say who, and mentioned that I had stolen from a relative. He said they couldn't afford to take the risk. So just like that, I lost everything. No job, no family, no home, all because of one lie. One calculated, venomous lie from a cousin who smiled in my face while ruining my life. And the worst part? I still didn't know why. Not really. Did she do it for fun? For the attention? To hurt me? Or was it just because she knew she could, and no one would question her? I like to say things got better quickly. They didn't. After I got fired, everything spiraled. I couldn't go home. I didn't even try. My mom didn't call, didn't text. Not even to check if I was okay. That part still messes with me more than anything. You spend your whole life thinking that, no matter what, your mom is the one person who will stand in your corner. Turns out, all it took was one accusation to turn her silence into a sentence. Jordan let me stay at his place for a week. After that, it got awkward. Not because he wasn't kind. But because I couldn't keep sleeping on his floor like a stray dog. I felt disgusting. Worthless. Every time I passed a mirror, I wanted to punch it. I found a room for rent in a sketchy part of town. Some guy posted on a bulletin board at a community center. $400 a month, no lease, cash only. I said yes before even seeing it. The room smelled like mildew and cat piss. I didn't care. I pawned my gaming console to pay the first month. Started applying to every job I could find. Warehouse work, late-night gas stations, janitorial gigs. Anything that didn't ask for references. Eventually landed a job at a fulfillment center pulling 10-hour graveyard shifts loading packages. My back ached. My feet blistered. The pay was crap, but it was something. I stopped going to classes for a couple weeks. I couldn't focus. Every time I tried to study, I just thought about my grandma's face. How sad she looked when Megan told that lie. How she didn't even look at me when they told me to leave. She used to call me her sweet boy. I guess that didn't mean much when cash went missing. And then came the social fallout. We had this private family Facebook group, one of those corny ones where people post baby photos and shame prayers. I was quietly removed from it 2 days after the party. No one called me. No one messaged to check in. Even cousins I'd grown up with, people I'd shared birthdays with, slept over at their houses. They just ghosted me. Like I never existed. The only people who didn't treat me like a pariah were a few old classmates and my coworkers at the warehouse. None of them knew what had happened. They just knew I kept my head down and worked hard. That was enough. Eventually, I crawled back into school. I dropped one class, barely passed the others. I stopped going out. I stopped talking unless I had to. I developed this permanent knot in my chest, part rage, part grief, part shame. I was so tired all the time, but I kept going. I don't know why. Maybe I was waiting for someone to say they were sorry. Maybe I still believed someone, anyone, would figure out the truth. But no one did. It went on like that for 6 months. 6 months of silence. 6 months of being the thief, the disappointment, the ghost. 6 months of rebuilding from rock bottom, paycheck by paycheck. Then, out of nowhere, the message came. It was a Thursday night. I just come back from a shift and was lying on my mattress, scrolling through my phone like a zombie, when I saw a message request on Instagram. No profile photo. Random username. The first line said, "Hey, you don't know me, but I used to date Megan." I sat up so fast, I nearly dropped the phone. He said he was her ex from about a year ago. They'd stayed in loose contact, and she'd been spiraling lately, posting cryptic stuff, ranting about how her family was full of hypocrites and how everyone always loves the golden boy. Then he sent screenshots. Screenshots of Megan, texting him back in the days after the party. I had to. He was the only one no one would question. It's not like he had anything going for him anyway. I needed that money, or I was F** edition. It's not my fault they believed me. I stared at my phone for a long time. It wasn't just relief I felt. It was rage. Cold, sharp, heavy rage. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't an accident. She knew what she was doing. She used me because she knew they believe her. And they did. I must have reread those screenshots 100 times. Each line from Megan felt like a slap across the face, but also like air returning to my lungs after months underwater. This wasn't some twisted theory in my head anymore. It was real. It was proof. I wasn't crazy. I asked her ex if he'd be willing to talk. He said yes. His name was Caleb. Seemed decent enough. We did a quick call. He sounded nervous, like he didn't want to get pulled into a family war. But he said Megan had bragged about it more than once. Said she picked me on purpose because I looked guilty by default. She used those exact words. I asked if he'd be willing to forward me the messages directly from her account. So I'd have metadata, timestamps, something that couldn't be dismissed as edited. He agreed. Sent me everything. I put it all in a folder. Messages, screenshots, voice notes he still had on his phone. Megan even sent him a short audio recording, laughing, saying, if he hasn't offed himself yet, maybe I'll let him back in the group chat for Christmas. That one changed something in me. This wasn't just petty cruelty. This was deliberate character assassination. She knew exactly what she was doing. For the first time in 6 months, I had leverage. I didn't want revenge. I wanted something worse. I wanted them to face what they'd done, every single one of them. So I didn't send the evidence to Megan. I didn't message my mom. I didn't call my aunt. I didn't warn them. I sent everything directly to Grandma. Email, subject line, I didn't steal from you. Inside was a short note. You believed her over me. You didn't ask questions. This is what really happened. I don't expect an apology. But now you know. Attached were the full message logs, a Google Drive folder with all the files, and a screenshot of a calendar showing the timeline of everything. Then I waited. 3 days went by. Nothing. On the 4th day, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I let it go to voicemail. Then I got another. Then another. The 5th call was from my mom. I picked up. Hello. There was silence on the other end. Then a soft voice, Grandma. Honey, I am so sorry. Her voice cracked. She started crying. I didn't say anything. I couldn't. I just sat there on the edge of my bed, holding the phone like it was burning. I didn't know. I swear to God, I didn't know. I should have believed you. I should have. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. The flood came after that. Mom called next. Then my aunt. Then my uncle. Everyone had seen the folder by then. It got shared. Apparently, Grandma printed it all out and brought it to Sunday dinner like a damn dossier. Slammed it on the table. Read Megan's messages out loud. I imagined the way her face must have dropped. No snarky comebacks this time. Megan didn't say anything, apparently. Just stared, pale and quiet, and left the room halfway through. They finally knew. But now they wanted me to come back. To talk. To rebuild the trust. To make things right. You want to know the cruel part? I didn't feel anything. Not relief. Not closure. Not peace. Just numbness. They wanted forgiveness because they got caught. Not because they believed in me. Not once did anyone say, I should have trusted you from the start. It was all we were confused, and you know how convincing Megan can be, and we were just scared for Grandma. No one asked what it was like to be homeless, to lose my job, to sleep on an air mattress while everyone in the family called me a thief behind my back. They didn't care about that. They just didn't want to feel guilty anymore. So I told them no. I wasn't coming to dinner. I wasn't rejoining the group chat. I wasn't patching things up. They threw me out without hesitation, and now they can live with that. I didn't block them. That would have made it easier for them. Clean cut. No reminders. No guilt. Instead, I muted the group chat, archived the numbers, and watched the apologies roll in. Some of them were frantic. My mom sent paragraphs, asking me to meet just once, saying she was heartbroken, saying she hadn't slept since Grandma showed her the messages. Aunt Diane went full PR mode. We all make mistakes. I think we all need to reflect. I know Megan's behavior is unacceptable, but always a but. Even my uncle, who hadn't said a word to me in 6 months, called and left a message like nothing had happened. Hey, kiddo, heard the truth came out. Glad to hear it. Let's have a beer sometime. Like it was some sitcom misunderstanding and not something that nearly destroyed my life. And Megan? She didn't say a word. She deleted her Instagram, set her Snapchat to private. And from what I heard through a mutual classmate, she moved back in with her dad in another city to clear her head. Good. Let her clear it far away from me. I kept working. The job at the warehouse turned into something steady. I got promoted to floor supervisor. Not glamorous, but it paid better. I moved out of that moldy shoebox and got a small one-bedroom that didn't smell like old cheese. Bought myself a real mattress, a desk, a lamp, started sleeping again. I picked up my studies part-time, dropped pre-law, switched to psychology. Yeah, irony's thick. I wanted to understand how people could twist reality like Megan did. How families could convince themselves they were right while ruining someone else's life. I started therapy. Took months before I could say the words, "My family accused me of theft," without my throat locking up. But I got there, bit by bit, week by week. Sometimes I still get dreams about that night. The living room, Grandma's silence, Megan's smug little face. I wake up angry, heart pounding, but it passes. I'm not stuck there anymore. A couple months ago, I ran into Grandma at a grocery store. She looked older, smaller. She was buying lemons. She saw me, and I saw her, and for a moment we just stood there like two strangers holding bruised fruit. Then she came over. Her voice trembled when she said, "You look good." I nodded. "Thanks." She tried to say more. Something about missing me. About how Megan doesn't talk to the family anymore. How it's been hard. That part almost made me laugh. Hard. I didn't bite. I just smiled politely and said, "Take care." I walked away before she could say anything else. Because I get to walk away now. I don't know what that says about me. Maybe I'm bitter. Maybe I'm healing. Maybe I'm both. But I do know this. They let me fall. All of them. They chose to believe a liar over me. Not because the lie made sense, but because it was easier, cleaner. Because I didn't matter enough to deserve a second thought. And now they have to live with that. I don't need revenge. I don't need forgiveness. I have my life back. And they're not in it. That's enough. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button.